Hey, good morning, Blake. First one in here. How you doing this morning? BB joined. Ugh. Hope you guys are doing well this morning. I'm feeling pretty decent. I got some good sleep last night, felt like, so I'm gonna get some stuff done around the house here today and try to keep my week going pretty well so far. So hope you guys are having a good week too. I'm gonna work on a little bit of, I was looking for some darker colored material that was larger that I could, that would show up good on camera so that you guys could see more of what I'm doing. But I've got a couple of pieces of this. This is Rainy Buttes petrified wood, and I think we're going to work this one today. It's got this horrendous seam through it that goes all the way through, and I'm hoping that it's solid and it stays, because that would be super cool to have through the end of the finished point. But if it doesn't, I mean, there's still a pretty good piece of rock there if it doesn't hold together. So, but we're gonna work it with the intent of having this on the tip end of the point. So it's like I told, hey, good morning, Todd. How you doing? It's like I've shown you guys, where I'm gonna look at this. This is really cool though. It's almost like, it looks like it was welded. You can see that the formation of that crystal, or that chalcedony or chalcedony, how it looks just almost like welding beads, the way that it was created in this crack in this stone, or a void. Oh, there's a cool little spot in it too. You can see the, almost look like a wormhole or something that got filled in by some kind of minerals. But anyway, figured we'd work on this a little bit today, and I'm gonna do, if it's okay with you guys, I can go a little slower and just kind of show you the setups on the platforms because this material is going to show it real well. I think it's going to show the flake scars real well once I remove them. So that's what I was trying to come up with. I've got this, and then I've got a big piece of dacite that's got a kind of a wonky spot in it. I inherited this from a buddy of mine that passed away. Got a few big chunks of stuff like this that I came across when I was going through my rock. This thing's got this huge scooped out spot, and it's got a little bit of mass on both ends. And we may work on this some once I get warmed up. But I'm gonna try to do a little bit with that. I usually don't like to work on anything like glass or anything until I am warmed up, so I'm not gonna slip or cut myself real bad. I mean, you can cut yourself with the stone too, but just not as severely or as quickly. That's obsidian is just, I call it, I mean, it's devil glass is what they call it, but that stuff is just, it's really scary sharp. And I caution you that if you're just getting into the flint knapping and you're still, fairly new in it, just be careful with the obsidian. I mean, I'm hesitant about working it because of the sharpness of it. One mistake or inattention, and you can really put a hurting on yourself. So just please be careful. Todd, thank you for the likes, guys. I appreciate it. All right, let's see if we can get this edge dressed up. And so first thing I always do Excuse me, as I'm look through this piece of stone. Terry, good morning. How are you doing today, man? I'm about ready to get out and start looking at some of my early mushroom spots. It's just about time to start finding a few early mushrooms. Well, I should have warmed up this morning. But anyway, I'm looking at this to try to figure out where my largest point that I can work with, what I see as potential issues with these seams. This big lump of crystal stuff here, this is that I can tell by the way that the flakes have gone through it before this, is more than likely not going to be in the finished piece. It's going to be, the tip will be somewhere over this direction and kind of run this way through the rock. So, excuse me. Let's see if I can. See, I'm just turning and dragging this edge. You can see how steep that is. I tell you what, this is a big turtleback is what this is going to work like. But you see, I just kind of dressing and then just drug that edge on that little platform. And it's not a real hard strike. It's just enough to transfer the energy. This is just a little one here. Right next to it. But what I'm doing as I do this is I'm building up an angle to where I can get to this area over here. It's not a square edge, but you can see how steep that is. So what I'm doing is, since I've already got a platform set like that, then I'm using it to start building convexity on this side. It's not too bad, and there's a spot right here where I can come back and do the same thing. So I usually, when I start off, if there's one side that's going to be, I don't want to say easier to flatten out, but I feel like I can get it squared away and then start attacking the other side. Brizzo, good morning. So then I concentrate on whichever side, I feel like I can. The side that I start on usually is the flattest side, and I do that because I'm trying to flatten it out where I can use it to come back to the other side. And if one side will take me less material to get flat to begin with, then that's the side I pick. But a lot of times, you still have to use, like when you've got opportunistic type of platforms, you want to use those as you're working along. But at least when you're working to one face, because it's already set that way, you're not losing material. If I decided, oh, this has got a big turtleback and I want to, Terry, this is Rainy Buttes. I was trying to pick a dark, a larger piece of material that was darker that you guys could really see, and you could see how those flake scars really show up in it. So that was kind of my goal, is to something that you guys would be able to, when I take a flake off, you can readily see, yeah, it's beautiful material. And this is a nice piece of it, but it's got its issues. There's a quartz seam that goes all the way through. You can see it all the way around, and then there's a big glob of it up here on the end. So we're just gonna pick our way around it. But like I said, so I'm trying to flatten this side and then start working towards this turtleback side. We got a undercut here and a side here. So you don't ever want to try to drive a flake into this undercut. We're just going to start straightening up the edges. Little blendy turning type flakes. Nothing too aggressive, because at this point, it's what this looks like was an attempt at an aggressive strike, and I don't know if it was me or somebody else. It may have been me, and that's why I set it aside. I don't know, but at this point, if you try to get too aggressive with it, you're going to end up with contours that you're going to be fighting the rest of the the rest of the point. Let me find a little bit different hammerstone. That one's just a little too soft. This one may be a little too small. I may have to go to a bigger. Yeah, I need some more. I'm trying to swing that too fast. This one may be too soft, but it's got the mass that I'm looking for. Yeah, it's too soft also. This material is pretty hard. I mean, it's not a... I don't know, well, I don't want to say it's hard. It's tough because it actually has a texture. It almost feels soft. It's weird. I've had people, I've never worked opal, but I've heard people say that it works similar as far as the softness of it to opal, but it's got, I don't know, it's got some personality to it. Yeah, that's what that extra mass, but being soft where it would grab that edge. But it looks like that's going to hold up. I hit almost directly off that seam. That's where my flake initiated at. And it held up just fine through it. So maybe we'll have a really cool lightning bolt through the tip of this one. Cool lightning bolt through the tip of this one. And one thing about this stuff though is it does like the edge to be fairly well ground. So you can see these. These are just steep edge turning flakes. I'm just trying to get to where I can, you know, start building a way to get to this turtle back over here. Flattening this side out in the process. Got a little bit of a stack forming there. We're going to have to... Oh, right on, Todd. I tell you what, at the end of the day, I mean, I like my antler tools, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, if I had to pick, you know, just a basic tool, it would be a medium-sized, medium grit. That meaning it's not real hard or real soft, it's just somewhere in between. You literally can make a point. You'd go right to an antler. Well, the problem is though, Todd, is early stage with an antler, when you've got steep angles and sometimes rounded off edges, your antler won't grab it and it'll bounce off of those type of platforms. Once you get a sharp edge, an antler works great because of the way that it transfers the energy. But up until that point, the hammerstone, you can do a lot of the same stuff with a hammerstone that you can with antler just by changing, well, instead of, do you guys, I don't know, some people don't like the sciencey part of the stuff or the physics of it, but I mean, I get into that. I want to know why it does what it does. So I'll explain this, and if you guys don't care for that side of it, let me know and I'll shut up. But when you hit directly down on a hammer or on a piece like this, and you hit down to the edge, the effective mass of that percussor is equal to everything that's above the center line when it makes contact. You need it? Right on, guys. Well, like I said, it makes a lot of sense to me. It helps me understand that if I'm hitting directly down like this, all of the mass of this stone is coming to bear on that edge. And right on. Well, guys, I appreciate it because to me, that's how it makes sense to me. But you'll notice, and I've got to where I kind of do it subconsciously now because, you know, it's just, if I know I don't want to take a really steep down edge flake, or it's not a real sharp hammerstone flake, you'll see me, and you can see the beveled edge on the end of this, and it's from slapping at it. And now if you see the way that I'm making contact with that, look what's above that, the edge, the center line. So the effective mass of this rock that I'm hitting with is only this top edge. If I hit it like this and try to do that, I'm putting all of this mass trying to take off that little flake. But when I do it like this, there it went. Oh yeah, that seam's going to be an issue, but it works a lot like an antler billet. That seam is going to break weird. Unfortunately, well, we'll see. Hopefully on this side it gets better, but well, that cleaned up some of it, but it's still kind of weird. Yeah, it's probably going to break in that spot. But anyway, so it's a different strike. Instead of hitting down, it's more like a billet, like just a round slap. You know, you can see that arc as it goes by. And in doing that, you're reducing the mass of what's the word, the effective mass of this. You still obviously have the mass of it, but what you've done is everything that's got leverage on that edge is lower. You know, the smaller amount of mass above that's going to come to bear on that is less, so you get a completely different strike. It's almost like, it's similar to an antler type strike. And I'll show you on these right here. This is a good edge for this. If, well, those of you that have tried the antler tools, you'll notice that usually on a really steep edge that the antler doesn't work very well. You know, you've got a really hard edge. You can see how much mass is underneath this that I'm going to attempt to take off. These are substantial flakes, and they're not flakes that I would take or attempt to take with an antler, either a billet or a punch or anything, because the angle that I'm trying to take that off underneath and all that mass that I'm trying to remove, I'd have to really swing at it, and you're putting a lot, with the antler, you're putting a lot of shock into that piece. And that's what we're trying to avoid. That energy's got to go somewhere. So if it doesn't release the flake, then you've got vibration going all the way through your biface. So you can see right here, we've got kind of a sharp little edge, and we're going to work our way back into this, just trying to remove this mass. But I'm not hitting it like this, I'm hitting it like that. That'll make a little point. You see how it's like a slapping type motion on that edge like that. Now it's just like see, I'm wanting a little bit more downward, so I tilted that up and just pecking that edge with it. Blend a couple of flakes in up there. That was a little bit more on top of, but still more of a slap motion. You know, instead of, what I want you guys to take from it is, I'm not hitting the edge, I'm hitting through the edge, and the edge gets in the way, just like a golf swing. I'm not hitting at this and then letting it die off. I'm swinging and just clipping it. You see that follow through, how that's hitting right there? And what it does is it gives you these clean antler type flakes off of a steeper platform. That was a little too thin and small there for a... Now I want a steeper flake and I want to adjust an angle, then I'm going to hit more down on it. And I'm just pecking that. I'm not trying to, you know, remove a bunch of material. I'm just adjusting an edge to where I can set up to do that slap again. You don't have to slap the edge of it like that. It's a great way to do antler-like flakes off of a hammerstone platform. And I've still got this little junky spot right here that I got to figure out how to address. So I'm thinking if I can get a good flake here, then I might be able to turn back on the next couple of series and set up and get underneath that. All I'm wanting to do right here is just build a platform that's going to be strong enough to take the strike, because I'm wanting a nice flake that'll go out into the center of this, with this seam kind of being a little bit up in the air and we don't know what we've got. Most people don't, Todd, and that's why you know, even if you work off of your leg, I've watched guys and they're hitting at the platform. You know, they set it on their leg and they're hitting at the platform. You should be hitting at the spot on your leg and let the platform get in the way. You know, the same as what they tell you with a golf swing. When you know, they tell you most of the time somebody's practice swing is way smoother and would get them way more distance than if they hit it the way that they hit it when they hit at the ball. Because when they practice swing, there's no ball there and they swing through the ball. You want to do the same thing with this, is you want to swing through the platform and just let the platform get in the way. And that's how you get the freest amount of energy transfer. When you're real tense, and you'll feel it, you know, I feel it when I start off. My joints are stiff, and you don't let your wrist break over. I can't do that with my coffee cup in this hand, but you're like this, like robotic. You want to get to where that snap, and that's why freehand percussion is more difficult on me, because you can see there is a snap and a follow through. And when you're using a larger, heavier tool, like a big billet or something, then that energy, it's like I said before, the energy's going somewhere. Now, whatever energy you don't put into the rock is hitting my leg. It's, I'm trying to slow. You've got a lot of those kind of forces at play. So it's just a little bit more difficult on my body to do, but super, super effective. So, all right. You can see that little ridge right here. I say little, it's a pretty good size amount of material that I'm gonna try to remove, but I am gonna isolate it just a little bit more on this side. And then we're gonna slap and take, hopefully way out into this area here on the other side to try to take some of that mass off there. I'm gonna isolate it just a little more, hopefully. I'm just trying to not give that flake anywhere to go but where I want it to go. All right, and you can see there's my ridge. Well, Blake, it just depends on, there's different schools of thought. I've seen guys that with the hammerstone that they're holding it in a straight line, and they're just doing a great, just like this. With an antler, you almost have to have an arcing type of strike. as long as it's very much like a golf swing. When you get to the area where you want to make contact, that's where you increase your speed by that snap. It's just like releasing that energy. When you go too stiff, you're trying to almost push or punch a flake off there instead of just pulling it off. And with these tools especially, just a static arm, it doesn't have quite the same transfer of energy to it. Now, like I said, I've seen guys successfully nap where, I've seen with punches. There's a guy with antler punches, Paleo Man 52 on YouTube, and he uses, and it's the reason that I have punches like these is because I was watching his technique, trying to learn. Now he hits almost straight down, but it's still an arcing motion. It's just, you'll see when he hits, there's a follow through. It's, instead of trying to hit straight and keep your arm straight, you're wanting to just collide with that edge somewhere in that arc. And then that's how you determine, like, if you're flat and you make contact, the way that cone is going to drive a flake. If you're tilted up more, that cone is going to go deeper into the rock. So the flatter or downward like this, the shorter your flakes. But as you turn into it, your flakes are going to get longer until the point where you're going to start driving them into the mass of it, and you start getting step fractures. That's where I think a lot of the newer nappers is you get too deep in the angle, and that force is going into the rock, and then it doesn't have enough energy to travel the rest of the way through the rock, so it just stops. That's what a step fracture is it's used up all the energy it has available, and it doesn't have enough to go through the rest of the mass. So, all right, let's get this off here. So I'm just gonna it's just a nice, easy. Now, did you hear that real high-pitched pop? I mean, it's crisp. And that's because I made good contact on a good platform, and it went exactly where I wanted it to go. There's the edge of that flake right there. From this side right here to right there. And let you see and this is very, what I would call, this is an antler type flake, but when you look at the platform, you can see it was steep and it was well ground. So that's just one way that I use hammerstones, that if you had just one tool, that hammerstone can do a lot of the same stuff that antler can do, and then some. You can abrade your edge with it. If you have just a medium-sized good quality tool, that's the mass of it, you can work stuff that's a little bigger, but then as it gets less mass in your biface, you can kind of adjust the effective mass of the stone. I've made Clovis. I need to do one on video. I'll sit down and do that, hopefully coming up. But just a one tool. That's too hard. One tool Clovis point. I mean, fluted and everything. No pressure flake, no nothing. Because you can do all of it. I'm trying to catch that steep. There we go. Now, instead of hitting into that, when I've got a really steep edge like that, that's another little thing that might help some of you out. Instead of trying to hit right straight down on that sharp edge, yeah, Todd, I can use one all the way through the manufacturing. There's certain things that the antler will do better, but it's just because they can be done better, it doesn't mean it can't be done, with the other tool. And I know guys that with a hammerstone can do well. I mean, like I said, I've finished points with just one tool, and to me, I know I can't do that with an antler. There's just not once you get down to or have certain situations, you just can't work them with an antler. And Justin, this is Rainy Butte, sorry. But see, now we've got, this side is fairly flat. I was looking for a larger piece of material that was dark enough that you guys could really see the flake scars in it. So that's how we landed on this, Justin. But this seam has got me a little bit worried. It does go through all the way through, and I just don't want this rock to break. But what is it? It's just a rock. But like right here, this is a type of a platform that I would like to set up and hit with a punch. It's kind of a little bit hooked, and there's a dip in it. You know, there's certain stuff that the antler will do better, but I can still accomplish all of it with this hammerstone. So these are all those little edge turning. You hear that high-pitched crack that's coming off there. And look at the crack that's coming off there. And look at the type of, you know, flakes that I'm getting off of this really steep edge. You know, you can see how steep that edge is. And I'm just dragging them off there, just kind of flick. Dull the edge up a little bit, and just getting a little out of frame there, sorry. Lynn Palin, thank you for the follow. Right on, Justin. Yeah, it just takes practice, man. I mean, it's definitely I'm trying to push the limits here a little bit. I don't want to mess this up, but let's see, we're in our base. Yeah, see, I took that off of what I just said a while ago, that I would normally hit it with a punch. I had to change the angle just to blend that in. That's all I'm trying to do, is just get that convexity and kind of get this side clean, and then set us up for this turtle back. So see these, I mean, they're almost like antler type flakes. You see how they're almost like ordered, almost big pressure flakes is what they look like. So this side is in fairly good condition. Now we need to come back to this side. But if you think of this as just almost like, oh, thank you, Rick, I appreciate it. Did I not? I thought I said it. I thought I'd said it, Justin. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to. If I missed a comment there or didn't answer, I thought in my head I told you it was Rainy Buttes. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Now, is it me, or is it, because it could be, my internet out here can be a little in and out. I bet you I do have some internet issues this morning. Sorry, guys. Oh, you don't think it's me, Brizzo? Well, at least a signal enough where I could broadcast. So hopefully it's not me. But then again, I hope it's not you guys. So, all right. I'm gonna get a little bit harder hammerstone and just get a little turn on this edge right here. Do not like the way that one is taking flakes though. Well, I wish this hammerstone was just a little tougher, because man, the grit on it is perfect for that rock. The southwest corner of North Dakota, I believe, Justin. I think that's the location. It's in one of the Dakotas, but I think it's North Dakota, the southeast corner or southwest corner of North Dakota. And it is petrified wood, but it's like an ironized. Oh, it's fantastic stuff. And well, this is a piece I had worked on a ways back that wasn't going the way I wanted to, that I've had here, just kind of trying to clean up and turn into something with some of my other well, the bucket of shame pieces. I might be able to use this once this gets smaller. Once the mass is less, where it's not causing this to rebound as much, it might work really well for it. It's just a little too soft though. Oh, right on, Justin. I think you're going to like it. Have you worked Georgetown before? Someone wants the like point. Oh, I got you, hon. Well, guys, just as a, I had that 100,000 like deal, but once TikTok put a limit on all that stuff. Raymond, good morning. Oh, you worked it heated but not raw. Well, if you got good, who'd you order from? Curtis or? Because if it's his high quality, stuff, or any of those guys, really, you're gonna get some stuff that I think, yeah, it'll be good, clean material. But oh man, gotta lose my train of thought here, trying to remember how I had this there. That's the thing. If you gotta get disorganized with your piece, yeah. If he said it's good stuff, Justin, it's good stuff. Curtis got some good rock, so I'm sure that you will enjoy that. We'll have to, the next time we get together, you have to bring a few pieces of it. We'll do some early stage reduction stuff. I've been thinking about purchasing some rock. Haven't done it in a long time, but got a few projects in mind that I'm thinking about. So all right, let's see if we can still trying to turn it to get to this side without, you know, messing up the convexity of this convexity of this side. So it's just we're just a little ways away from it getting real organized and start to be able to take the, you know, the bigger removal flakes. But if we had started, you know, too soon trying to take those big flakes before everything was set up for it. Math Carver, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Let's see. I don't know how this. See how this punch is going to react with this stuff this morning. Well, if I don't hit too hard, it probably should work just fine. Maybe. There we go. It's another good. All right, right here, I just took this removal here, and now I've got just a little bit of mass behind this to remove that I can set up. I'm gonna kind of zigzag and get a little deeper on this and have a platform set up here to run this ridge. Try to get it to where you can see there you go. That big lump of stuff right here. And I'm gonna set up a platform here and come this way with it. Find a now, by taking those couple little flakes, you see how I've drastically reduced this, but then this is kind of in line right off the edge of that. I don't want to try to drive it right into that problem. I want to kind of skirt around the edge and kind of just slice underneath it. That's my goal on this one. Now I've got the ridge that I want to follow on the bottom, and I've got the punch in line with the way that I want that flake to travel. You don't want to push off to the side because your force is going to go that way. I want it in line with what I want to remove. And then that support that I gave to the back of that. Travis, good morning. It went right to the support. Now there's a little anomaly in that rock because that hit a seam right there where that's still chunking up. So that's what's going on there. And that explains that. So let's see if we can. I'm going to try to skirt around it a little bit here. closer to what I want. Not quite, but. We'll come at it off of this platform, kind of the other back, you know, or side of it this way, and see if we can't remove a little bit more of that. Well, when we're going to lose, I'm hoping to make a Clovis out of this, so a lot of this material is going to go away. I'm just trying to build convexity in this as we go along. Tommy, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. And a little refill here. All righty, let's see where we're at. Right on, Travis. Yeah, I'm pretty enamored with the old paleo points myself. I like the Clovis and the Folsoms and the Daltons. Cumberlands, a lot of something about the paleo points, I really like them. All right, let's see if we can run one right along the edge of that seam. Well, that's a sharp spot. That's a little trick for you guys. See that? I felt it cut me when I pushed up against that. When you're supporting that piece on the back side, you should be making, you know, really good contact with your hand, that support. Oh, I thought that released. There it did. Yeah, there was the seam there that we just got right in contact with. You see how kind of wonky that is underneath where that flake came out? But we cut underneath that big mass right there. But I don't like the texture of that right there. It looks kind of yucky. Right on, Kenosha, thank you much. I think I might be able to make a little point out of that one though. That removed a lot of mass off this piece. I think I might switch down to the next punch down here. Something a little bit smaller. Hey, Kill Creek, how you doing? Found the base of a white quartz. Oh, awesome, Travis. I like the bases. You know, I mean, a blade is nice, but for me, when you're trying to reproduce these points, if the base is not right, the whole point's off. Someone tried arsoning your house. Dang. Well, I'm glad you got it stopped. Dang, man. No fun at all. We've got this area here with this. Yeah, that's a messed up deal there. Where do you live, Kill Creek? Canada, wow. Yeah, that is messed up right there. Yeah, see, I just took a nice, easy, smooth flake out there, and you see how the texture is different right through here. That's where that big seam and all that junk was building up. There is like an anomaly in that rock that we're going to have to keep in mind as we work through this. I'm hoping that it'll work out. Kenosha, this is Rainy Buttes material. I was looking for something dark that I could show you guys that the flake scars would show up really, really well. All right, let's see if we can get rid of this quartz off the end. There's some of it. It's so weird. That almost looks like a welding bead right there on the end, the way that formed in that rock. Oh yeah, that seam is really hard. It's almost like a, yeah, that's completely different than the rest of the rock. Chris, good morning. Well, let's see if we can. I'm going to lose some of this. So this, there it went. This stuff is not flaking like the rest of the stone around it at all. Bamski, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. All right, let's see if we can. Got this area of mass right here. There's the platform to take it off, and it's going right into this quartz seam. I'm hoping that it continues to hold together. I had to take some of that length off there because it just was not going to nap like the rest of the rock. See, I'm just trying to adjust those edges. I'm just trying to build convexity from base to tip. Now you see we're like a big, kind of like a soft, it's got that lenticular shape from base to tip and starting to get it from edge to edge. We've got this area of mass right here that I need to set up to remove that side. And then a slight turtle back on this side, but that's nice convexity for a flake to travel. So we're getting really close to where it's just going to be like, we'll be able to get the longer contouring type flakes. So the ones that you think of like your secondary and tertiary flakes. Starting to get a few of those, and they're usually smoother. Mad Dog, good morning. All right, let's try this. All right. All right, we've got this area right here of mass. Got kind of a chunky looking, platform in front of it, but what we'll do, since it's out towards the end, I don't want that staying there as the rest of this piece gets thinner. We're just inviting an issue. So since it's fairly well isolated, I'm just gonna strengthen it up a little bit. Hey. The quartz goes all the way through this one, Kenku. It goes, there's the line on this side. It's kind of a ragged little tear line, and then it goes all the way through. I'd love to be able to keep that in the finished piece. But if it doesn't, then, you know, oh well. But I would like to keep it in there if possible. That's got me in trouble more times than not, though. Instead of just working the stone, is trying to make it, you know, leave that pretty stuff in there. That is the hope, Kenosha. That's the, you know, that it would. Well, let me see if. Oh yeah, it's going to shine through. I've got my ring light up here, and if I can get, you know, if it'll hold together, it'll shine through the tip. It'll be like a kind of like a lightning bolt. That'd be a great way to display it, is with a, you know, backlit. So let's see if we can make that happen. Do a little edge work on here. Now when I'm trying to set back up to come to this side, you can see these flakes here are almost like undercut, and there's that weird seam spot that we had. So I'm just gonna maybe there it goes. I'm just gonna try to peck this edge to where it's set up towards this face. Now that's that seam. But you're not trying to drive a long flake in there. You're gonna end up with a bunch of steps and a bunch of messed up stuff. All I'm trying to do is just roll this edge into that concavity that was on the other side. And set up a platform so I can come back the other direction. Well, I don't know if it's going to stay in there or not. I was considering just completely turning it around and making this the base and this the tip. There's still quite a bit of that in there. I think I'm still better off if I try to keep this as the tip. So. Well, that one bounced up. That flake hit the floor, bounced back up, and hit my finger. You know, and I always say that everything that we do is the same thing over and over. What I'm doing right here is essentially the same. Let me show you. As I'm kind of, you know, pecking and turning this edge, it's the same as when I take pressure flaker off of the edge of a piece, and I'm doing this. I'm just turning that edge, and every once in a while there's a flake that needs to come off there. But as you roll that edge, I'll see if I can get this up there where you can see the little flakes. You see those little, the way those flakes come off there. I don't know, it's not focusing. There they go, right here by my finger. And I'm just rolling those into an area. Well, I'm doing the same thing on this side. This is just a larger version. You see how that's now rolled over to this other side. And it's set up to where I can remove flakes from this face. So once you grasp the basic concept of it, it's the same thing over and over again. No, but what I was going to tell you guys on the since TikTok kind of limited the way that the likes were going and all that, and it was getting crazy there for a while. We had that 100,000 like point. Well, that ended up going to a new home. The guy that sent me the material, Mr. Bubba Eeks of East Mississippi Headhunters, received that along with his drawing point. Right on, work hard, play harder. Are you a napper, or is it just something that you have an interest in? Yeah, I do not like that seam. It is not going to play nice with us. See how both of those flakes just went right up to that seam and it just crumbled? Unfortunately, I was hoping that it would stay together because it's a really unique aspect of it. But, well, I tell you what, work hard. It's definitely something that takes some effort to learn. But it's also something that everybody can learn. You know, it's not a talent, it's a skill. And it's something that, you know, if you spend time working at it, that you'll get better. You know, I've said it numerous times on these lives, but no matter where your ancestors come from on the planet, they shaped stone tools. So the very fact that you're watching this live this morning on TikTok is evidence that your family was successful with those. Northeast Mississippi. Ball boy, there's a few guys over in I don't know the geography in that area, but there may be, I'm not sure who's in here from. Oh, absolutely. It's therapeutic, Brizzo. It's something that I, you know, it's saved what little of my sanity's left, so. But we're going to see if this will hold together, at least to get it out of there in the tip. But you can see how that broke right into that quartz, unfortunately, so. Let's hope the rest of it holds together. Try to approach it in a little bit different way now that I know that stuff is a little junky up there. See, that's that series right there of flakes. That first one got a little bit chunky, but then you can see almost like an ordered series. And what that starts doing is we're going to come from this side, and then we'll have you know, a lens-shaped ish biface started. Then some of that right there. Well, it went through that. It kind of took a weird angle, but promising, promising. I'll tell you, Brizzo. Yeah, I don't know if you could qualify what I got as sanity or not either, but so that was a nice flake right there out into this area. And you can see what it's doing to our profile. This is the side we've still got a little bit of mass and some stuff to take care of, but it just slowly, it's starting to become a lens shape, base to tip, edge to edge. That's what we're going for. Like I said, unfortunately, I lost that out off the tip, but I took that flake right there to set up this little ridge right next to it. You see that little ridge going out into this area. Okay, then that flake, I'd set up an area here that's now isolated, but I have to chip back because that flake kind of cut in. We want to line this back up to where that platform is right in line with the area that we want to remove. So I'm gonna tilt it back just a little bit to kind of, is that my punch losing pieces there? It is. I'm gonna have to redress my punch here in a second. I just lost a chunk out of it. Let's see, there. See, by taking that, you can see how now that's more in line here, and it's isolating this mass here. Do the same thing from the edge, or the front side of it. Well, it's a little bit chunky right there. Not much of a platform, but we're gonna see if we can. Now this is one of the reasons why I like the antler punch. If I were using a hammerstone, it'd be next to impossible to grab the edge of this platform right here that I'm wanting to get. It's just barely sticking out off the edge of that. Right there is where I'm trying to get to. More than likely, I would contact this edge before I contact the platform. But with the punch, I can set it right on the edge of where I want to hit, press in, and that flake, well, it hit another little seam there, but it adjusted the contour in a way that'll work for us. Well, the other side of that quartz vein looks like it might hold together. We might get lucky, guys. What is it they say? I'd rather be lucky than good any day. Oh yeah, look at that big thinning flake off of that piece. It went a little farther back this way than I wanted it to, but it will work out nicely. Work hard. I'm thinking I'm going to make a Clovis if my contours. That was a big mass removal right there. It may have been a little bit much, but I think I can adjust it back around. Well, I know that I'm lucky. That's for darn sure, hon. All right, we've got this little spot here and a platform off the end. I can take that mass there and get this thing thinned down there. What I'm doing right here is it's kind of the punches version of dragging the edge of that pressure flaker down the edge. I'm not trying to take big flakes. These are just little edge turning contour flakes. Thank you. I appreciate it. Work hard. Well, every piece is different, you know. This one's got its issues in here. The more I mess it up here, the more it looks like I may need to switch and put the tip on this end, but I don't want to try to flute through that on a Clovis. So I'm trying real hard to kind of readjust what I just about messed up there. That one was being a little bit cantankerous. All right, now after that series, let me thin this down just a little. Well, that tough, there it goes. It's a tough little spot right there on the edge of that platform that it was not wanting to release. I'm just nibbling this edge back with this hammerstone and just turning it towards this face now. But then I've got these little opportunistic buck nut. It depends on the material. Some rock will definitely benefit from, you know, a specific heat. You know, it varies with the type of rock. Some rock doesn't affect it at all. And in some pieces that you can actually, by heating it, you can actually it can be detrimental to it if you get it too hot. Real people, thank you. That's all I work with. Is all stone and bone tools. That's it. I started about 8 years ago. I used to nap with copper, and I don't have anything against anybody using different tools. So don't get me wrong. I'm not one of those guys. This is just the way that I enjoy napping. I don't know. It just seems more natural to me. So thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, any of my work that you see posted on my profile, or it's all done with these tools. I used to tell people until it made them mad, but I'd say no copper was harmed in the making of these points. Ricky, thank you for the follow. I do sell some. I've got a link right up here to our Etsy shop. If you go right up here to my profile page. Real people, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. But there's a link to the Etsy shop there if you want to check it out. Bucknut, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I need to get some more stuff in the shop. I've had quite a few sales here in the last few days, so I need to get some fresh stuff in there. All right. You can see how we've got this. There's a little bit of area of mass right here, and we've got these little opportunistic platforms that are just, you know, I could continue to chip down to try to bring it closer to this face, but it's like I said before, when you get those little opportunistic spots, let me see how bad that looks. Oh, it's not too bad. But when you get those little places where you can adjust the edges without losing a lot of material, and I definitely try to use those. Blame your wife, sorry. I don't know what you're talking about, Rick. It may or may not have been, you know, in any association with your wife. I can't be held responsible for any of that, but oh, that one lipped. Dadgummit. Well, I would not have thought that would have lipped that hard, but it did. It tore off a big chunk of that. So now I got to be a little bit more frugal, little more careful. We've got an area right there in front of it that's now really well isolated, so I'm gonna blend that in. I don't think it's gonna hurt us too bad, hopefully. Yeah, any of the hurry up and buy. Sometimes that happens, and I have done it. You know, that's why I told people a lot of my Daltons that I've made, or the drills that I make, don't always start off as a drill. Now, I've made a few on purpose, but for the most part, anytime you see me make a drill, that's because I had a big lip or overshot flake that drastically altered the lines of that piece, and it had to become something a little different. So I definitely know what it's like to have one do that to you. Come on. Man, there's just a little edge there that I'm trying to catch, and it's not catching it. Tell you what we're gonna do. A while ago when I was used to that big flake that came out of that. It's right down at the bottom where I need to make contact. I'm gonna dress this real quick. I could do it on a grindstone, guys, but I didn't figure you want to sit there and watch me do that for half an hour, so. But even after I get it somewhat dressed, you know, I still like the edge that that stone puts on it. It smooths it out. Any lines or anything, it's the same thing. Indigenous, thank you. Charlene, thank you for the follow. Nomad, good morning. But I like the when it's a little bit more, I don't want to say it's not burnished, but all the little scratches and stuff are out of it. You can see now I've got a clean edge right here that I'm looking to set that tip on. All right. Oh, getting along. Woke up on this side of dirt, so you know we got a good start going, but working a piece of Rainy Buttes that's got a quartz seam in the well, it was the, I think it's still going to be the tip. I'm going to try to make a little Clovis out of it. We're getting there. Oh, you like the Rainy Buttes? Some of it is really good. Some of it is not any fun. This piece has been somewhere in the middle. It's got a lot of the quartz stuff in it and a couple of almost like the wood grain, like anomalies in it. So you just kind of have to, well, that flake went through the quartz okay, so that's promising. It is, it's soft, but then sometimes, you know, you get that, like this stuff has got this quartz line, and see, every time I run a flake across it, if I get lucky enough for it to travel, but it's breaking right on that line, so it's still holding together. We're holding out hope that that we can get, you know, at least to a stage where I can try to flute it. Yeah, I'm about 50-50 on it, Nomad. It's like I said, every time I run a flake across it, it's cracking on it, but it's still holding together when I'm hitting around it. So trying to be a little bit more gingerly around it and not hitting, you know, hard directly into it. But then again, that's one of these that's going to get right down to the last flake. And then when I take that last flake, it's going to bust the tip off and I'm going to get all upset. Not really, but kind of. I mean, you don't like to put that much work into a piece and then have it come apart in your hands. So. Well, I'm just trying to catch these little tiny edges to turn this. Come on. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I would never try to flute through the quartz vein like that. That'd just be insanity. It is for sure the bait or the tip. It has been since the beginning. I just had a big removal a while ago that adjusted this in, but we've got, you know, Clovis's. Oh yeah, it does, you know, well, it's crazy or luck, but it does pay off sometimes. I mean, the tumblers will let you win one every once in a while, but all in all, anytime, you know, I'm going to flute, I'm not trying to flute through a seam or a crack or a quartz vein or anything like that if I can get away with it. this had a big old lump of a quartz stuff up on the front of it. This tip is actually a different, it's like slightly different texture than the rest of the rock. I don't know, it's weird. There's a lot of quartz up here. Still see some of that on the tip, that there was like a big knob of it up there that we've been working through for a while. Now these are the type of flakes that'll, yeah, and that's what I was wanting, is to have that kind of a lightning bolt, because I've held it up to my ring light out here, and it definitely will shine through. So it would be fun to be able to keep it in there. All right, let's see if we can. And it is not wanting to let that loose. There we go. That was just a little tiny platform. That opened it up for the rest of it, though. See, now we got nice convexity started there. I'm going to work back to this side now. Yeah, well, the light hits this, it goes through it. It's translucent, Nomad. I don't know specifically. I know there's a few people that have sold it, Justin, but there's a guy, his name is Steve Lemons, is where this came from. And it's, you know, he did me good on the rock. I mean, it's nice rock. So I had never dealt with him before, but that was a name that I got from somebody. When I had a person that was wanting me to make them, I made a Clovis out of this for them, and they bought me a box of rock to make because I said, you know, you can't send me a piece of rock and then say, here, make me this. Too many things can happen. You know, I'm not familiar enough with the material. You know, I need practice with it, that kind of stuff. And so he bought me a box of the rock to make him a Clovis out of. But Steve Lemons is the name that I came across looking for this material. So if you guys look him up, tell him that I sent you. Maybe he'll make me a deal on the next box or something. Now we're starting to get somewhere. Tore a chunk out of that thing. Had a buddy of mine give me some hammerstones the other day. I got a set of these. They're all the same material, and they're a little softer than I wanted, but they make fantastic grinding and tool dressing. The finish that this puts on here is so much better. See, you know, if you use a file or a rasp or something to do your initial shaping, that's all well and good, but when you look at the finish on your tool, you'll notice that there's a bunch of lines and it's roughed up, and that's what you're trying to get rid of. That's the reason you would dress a tool that's all ratty from hitting the edge of the rock. You know, you're going to clean it up. You're going to get it nice and smooth, and that's what you're wanting. You're trying to think of the tip of your pressure flaker or your punch or anything else is just like a little rounded off billet, and I'm just making contact on that edge and then applying that force until it releases. So the more tattered up and ratted up the tip of your flaker is, you're not making good solid contact with one spot on that platform, and you're going to get flakes that are unpredictable sometimes. They're not going to go where you want them to. So all right, let's see what we got here. Hey, Zach. How are you doing this morning? Now, did I see that right? Did you get your trash napping points? They were delivered? Right on. Good deal. I'm glad they made it. Everything made it safe and all, right? Zephyr, you'd maybe look at, oh, they're far from perfect, Zach, but I appreciate it. But no, Zephyr, you know, if depending on where you live, I mean, the creeks, lakes, you know, places where you're legally allowed to pick up rocks, that kind of stuff, unless you know a flint napper or somebody that might be able to supply you with. These are sharp. These are like little razor blades down here on the ground in front of me, and a bunch of different pieces and different types of material. Depending on what your craft project is, it's pretty sharp stuff. Yep. Hey, big man, Savage Wolf, what's up? Good morning. Better than the boomerangs. Yeah, like I said, Zephyr, if you know of a flint napper or somebody that would have a waste pile near, you know, near where you live, where you could go pick through it, it'd be the only thing I'd know. I mean, I mean, John Stone. I'm still partial to Thunder Churt, Brizzo. Thunder Churt is where I like that one. Throne Stone. That was another one. Throne Stone. Oh, Zephyr. It's like, Justin, you know where I'm at. Thought maybe I had woken up in an alternate universe this morning or something. Like, Justin's been here. Wheelie, I tell you what, get you some tools and just start. I mean, there's so many resources out there. I nap every morning from 8 a.m. until 10 a.m. weekdays, and then on Wednesday nights, I do a Wednesday night live from 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. And I'd be happy to. Well, I mean, I could send you some for the cost of the shipping, Zephyr. I mean, depends on what you want. I just don't want to ship somebody my junk or my trash. I'd rather not. But I mean, if you want to pay for the shipping, if we could figure out something, send me a message and I'll respond to you after I get off the live and see if we can't come up with something and find out what you're looking for. I might be able to help you out. Like I said, I'm just hesitant about thank you for the follow, about sending, scraps to somebody. I don't want to. All right. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to stay on top of where I'm at with this. It's been a little bit of a challenging piece, and if I get out of whack on it. Yeah, Wheelie, for sure though. I mean, there's YouTube videos, there's all kinds of information out there. So if you want to learn to do this, there's definitely the resources. And it's something that you can learn. It's not, it's not a skill or a talent, it's a skill. It's something that you learn how to do. It just takes time. So it's definitely something that if you've got the inspiration to do it and spend time on it, you can learn, for sure. Now we're getting close enough to the fluting stage that I'm just trying to build. Can I show the piece off I just got here? Well, big man, I don't do like the join share lives on here, so I don't know how we would accomplish that, but because the way I'm set up to try to do this, I don't do shared lives or invite lives. So thank you, Zephyr. Oh, yeah, I'm working on a piece of Rainy Buttes. It's got a big crystal line that goes all the way through the tip of it, and I'm trying to work around that gingerly. It's got a little bit of a bend. We're going to lose this here in just a bit, but I'm going to flute it from this end, both sides, and then finish out the blade. But I'm just trying to get my contours and everything set up. We're hoping that it doesn't break through that quartz line. No worries. Zephyr, like I said, I don't mind. I've known a few people that have done some stuff with the flakes, and I don't mind. I mean, because for the most part, unless I can make a point out of it, then it's not usable to me. But I just hate to send somebody my trash. I'd be like bundling up the kitchen trash and sending it to you and saying, here, see what you can make out of this. But if you've got a project that it would help you, we'll figure something out. I don't want to hit that off the end. Can I make one? Are you asking me to do that right now, you mean? Or do I have the ability to? If you're asking if I have the ability, then I've made a bunch of bird points or small antler point or small arrow points. Now, when I say bird point is kind of the accepted what they call them, but to me those are big game arrow heads. They're not. Oh yeah, no, Spence, I'm not going to do that right now, because for one thing, to sit here and do that on a small piece like this, you guys aren't going to be able to see unless it's up here where it's more visible as far as any kind of a major reduction on it. So I'll see if I can do that at a different time. But yeah, I can make bird points. If you check out my my profile, you'll see I've posted quite a few small points that I've made. They're just a little harder to show what's going on. Yeah, I've made a few of those. I've got a few sets of them that I need to set up for the earrings. I do wire wrap. I did a beautiful set for my wife out of some Burns Green obsidian a few years ago. That I made some really nice. It's a matching set. Well, there's a bunch of them that follow that kind of depends on the style of point. You've got like a Dalton-ish style like that, Spence. You've got here's one that broke during the notching process. So I was going to rework it. Here's a Dalton drill that I've been working up that I set aside for whatever reason. So depends on, there's the material I'm working is Rainy Buttes today. But yeah, there's so many different point styles that are similar. Well, that's interesting. I mean, are you wanting like bifaces, big man, Savage Wolf? Just like a large biface, stuff like this is a scraping tool, that like a hafted scraping tool. And Spence, if my work, I've got, if you go to my profile, there's a link to my Etsy shop in there. And you're more than welcome to go check that out. I'm going to be adding some more stuff in there today. I've actually got quite a bit of stuff I need to take some pictures of and get them listed. So if that's something that you're looking for, there absolutely is some stuff in there, and will be more in the next day or two. So But yeah, Savage Wolf, I can make, I mean, I do. Are you wanting just the blade itself for scraping, or are you wanting the haft and everything? Because I do hafted scrapers, axes, all kinds of stuff. Thank you for the follow. Hey, Silencer, how you doing? So, well, this depends on the size of the material, what I've got, but send me a message, and I'll see what I can come up with, and see if I've got some bifaces that would work for you for scrapers, because they're excellent. Makes an excellent hide scraper. They really do. All right, we're gonna see if we can flatten this tip out just a little bit. Trying to keep a lot of the convexity here without flattening it out. Yeah, you have to be a little bit more specific as far as the point style, Spence. It's hard to do typology from a description if you're not, like really specific. I mean, there's so many variants to so many of these point styles that a description like that would describe any number of types, and then depending on where you're from, that would affect it even more. Okay, yeah, well, round point. John, you too, man. I appreciate it. This a basic little palm-sized arrowhead from Texas. Well, I could pull up, like I said, the Overstreet book. If you look up Texas arrowheads, there's just, it basic doesn't even, I mean, there's dozens of styles that would fit into that. Now here, I don't want to take any like driving type flakes. I'm not trying to flatten it down here. I'm trying to keep this. You see how I'm starting to build some convexity. You see that rounded edge right there. I'm just trying to build convexity I'm going to see which side flute first. Yeah, we're not going to get to fluting this today. It's got a little bit more. Yeah, projectilepoints.com is a fantastic resource. But another way, look at Overstreets. I think Overstreets, it may have some stuff online, but if you can get a hold of an Overstreet book, I don't know if mine's still out here. Oh, it is, but it's stacked under a bunch of stuff. But the Overstreet book would be able to tell you all different kinds of point styles from an area. And it's done regionally, so it would be easier for you to find out what it is you're looking for. Zach, have a good one, man. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed your points too. Can you get points added to the Overstreet book? Well, I don't know how they do that, Justin. If it's, if they review it or, and then say, oh, this is now an accepted typology, because they've got as many of them. they've got as many, different point style or types or styles that come into question, because you have a lot of variance even within a point style. If you like Daltons, you look at the Dalton complexes, and depending on the region, and even sometimes within the same region, you'll have points that look, quite a bit different from each other, even though they're from the same culture of people. So I would not want I shared with you guys a friend of mine that was the curator for our local museum passed away here not too long ago, but the typology, his name is Matt Rowe, and to have the knowledge and the research ability to type all the types of stone tools within the United States that they know of at this point would be a tremendous undertaking. All right, now you can see now we're getting. Wow, Bryce. Yeah, that it may be. I don't know what the case is, but now you can see we've got this mass right here on this side and an edge turn, but this is going to be where I flute from on this end, so I don't want to flatten that out. I want to have some convexity, but I also want to lose some of that mass that's there. So I'm just going to adjust this to where I'm not flattening it out, I'm just rounding that edge so that when we do come back in to flute it, we've got a nice lens shaped or a gradual convexity to climb. It actually looks really good. Oh, thank you, Rick. Yeah, it's getting there. It's I like the material, and it's once you get past the issues, it's not bad to work, but it's just trying to get it to this point and not lose too much of the size of it. Well, I don't know if this thing's going to hold together through fluting or not. Now, the way I approach these, guys, and it might help you a little bit with Clovis or anytime you're fluting something, but the Folsom culture developed out of the Clovis culture, so it would stand to reason that a lot of their processes would be similar as far as the reduction, as far as the setup for the flute. All of those type of things are going to be at least somewhat similar. Yeah, I do too. This stuff here just looks old from the time that you flake it. It's just got some really cool stuff. But I'm going to try to flute this side first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a series of flakes that's going to accentuate that ridge right here, and to get it to give me the best flute travel that I can get. Yeah, and that was the reason I picked it. Silencer was, I was trying to show something that, the lighter colored rocks don't show the flake removals very well. But these, the contrast on it is much better, and it shows up better for you guys. Because usually I would not have tried to work. Yeah, she's actually purchased some stuff off there, Brizzo. And we're in the process right now. She's getting all of her stuff together, and she's been making some really beautiful stuff. As soon as she's ready to let go of some of it, I'm gonna start posting it on a website for her. So, hoping that goes well for her. Like I said, try to help her however I can. She's super. Well, Rick, on this one, what I'm going to do on a Clovis, I'm not going to try to make a Folsom. I'm making a Clovis. Now, I'm almost certain if I tried to run a flute all the way to the end of this, that it would result in the tip and losing the tip. But I'm reasonably certain that I think we can get I believe we're going to be able to get one off of this. So. Without it breaking, but we're not going to be able to do it today. So I will set it up. We'll work on this some more tomorrow, and I'll flute it live tomorrow. So, guys, I said it yesterday, but yeah, every once in a while you find silver. We found some like high grade knockoff stuff in some of it, and so yeah, Damien, absolutely. But no, guys, we got a couple of minutes here. We got a few people in here. If you have a craft or a thing that you do, or your whatever your TikTok stuff is, shout it out right here. Let's let everybody else know. If you got somebody that's looking for leather work, I know a couple of the guys do leather work. If there's a few potters that follow me that are in here every once in a while. So if you have a skill or a thing that you do, whether it's on TikTok or not, shout it out here. Let everybody know. And if somebody's looking for something, they can look you up. Last of the coffee. All right, guys. Well, I'll show you where we're at with this. I've got this edge set up to take and isolate this side. This is where we're going to flute it first right here. And I'll do that first thing tomorrow, but we've got both sides set up. And you see how I left this, there's more body back here. I wanted a little bit more mass when I go to take this flute flake, so that it's not, you don't want it super thin, because then you're introducing into it like the vibration this way is a lot worse. You want a little bit more mass and thickness. So I think we're pretty good as far as the body of this one right now. And I may change my mind, but right now it looks like I'm going to flute this side first. So that's what we'll start off with tomorrow, and I won't work on it until you guys are back in here. So guys, I appreciate you. Watch out for yourselves, those around you. Till tomorrow morning, keep chipping.